In fact, quite frankly, it's costing him money in this school, and his wife, and their graciousness. And we'll talk more about that at a different time. But I met Mr. DeVos in February of 2010. He'll tell you how he thought about the school when there was absolutely nothing. And our parents here will tell you there was nothing. Is there something less than zero? That's where we were. There is. And we have really, I think, done well in the limited time that we've been to school. I am inspired personally every single day by what Mr. DeVos and his family and wife has done for us. And I know our faculty and staff are inspired as well. Every single day. And that's not hokey. That's real. I'm going to stop talking because he's a lot more fun to listen to. And it's just a pleasure to introduce Mr. DeVos. And then, before he comes out, he is going to draw names out of the, it looks like, what is it? A vase. I said, I mean, it looks like an urn. How many students were arriving, Mr. DeVos? 5? 6 students, Kevin? So we're going to pick 12 names out of that later when he's done talking. And he's done. And if you want to, and your mother or father or guardian allows you to, you'll have to sign a waiver, give permission. Mr. DeVos will fly your child in that beautiful helicopter to wherever he wants to take you, and then the next group of kids will go. And I really appreciate that, Carson. She didn't hit the fly. You don't really have to twist his arm. This is a treasure in our community. Please give Mr. Dick DeVos a warm welcome. It's great to see you. I guess that's what they call an entrance, isn't it? We just sit back there. Who thought that helicopter landing was pretty cool? All right. Okay. Who was bored by it? Who thought it kind of boring? Who got a little nervous about it? Okay. That's all right. First time I landed a helicopter, I got nervous too. Now I just close my eyes. It's okay. Well, let me just say thank you for not only being here tonight, but for finding our school and for being a part of our story. We have parents here who have been a part of our story right from the very beginning. And I hope you'll ask them about what their experience has been and how they found the school to be responding to the needs of their children, each of their children. Because as you and I know, that same father, same mother, totally different kids, totally different needs. And so that's one of the things I think that defines us as a school, as will define us as a school, is how do we address each and every one of those individual needs and the uniqueness of each child effectively. So ask your parents about it, please. And find out everything that you can find out tonight so that you can make a great decision. And I believe that great decision is going to be with us the day after Labor Day in a uniform, ready to go, and ready to go to work that day. Actually, if you're ninth grade, you're going to be there a lot earlier with us for the summer program. Let me go back a little bit and say, people say, well, why did you do this? What's in it for you? And for me, pretty simple. It's a lot of joy. Getting a flying helicopter to come and see you, that was part of the joy I get out of it. But it's really sharing my enthusiasm for aviation combined with commitment to education. And that's beautifully demonstrated in terms of the commitment side by our staff, by the way. I just want to say this. We have an amazing staff led by Mr. Pat Quina, who has put together an extraordinary team of educators and professionals who bring enthusiasm and capability each and every day to the school building. And I thank them because they're the ones who are really delivering. every day. I'm kind of the cheerleader on the side, but as I say, I just fly the helicopter and have fun and take joy away from this. Because we set this school up years ago as we're a not-for-profit program. I don't say that to criticize any of the for-profit charter operations, not at all. We just chose to go this route, feeling this was right. Because as you may, if you lived in this area for a little while, you may have heard a number of things about me or about my family. And some people have different opinions about what our agenda is or isn't. And so we want to be real clear. The agenda is about education. The agenda is about kids. And this is all about how can we help every child to be all that they were created to be. And so that's what we're about. And, you know, then that's up front. Check us out. Ask the parents, again, if we've lived, if we walked our talk. Well, I've been involved in education for a while. I've been involved talking about it from a public policy standpoint. I've been involved in partisan politics and state politics and public policy debates for many years. My wife and I have been very involved in efforts to transform, reform, to improve education in this state, and now we're involved nationally in those conversations. How can you do a better job systemically to improve education? So we've been involved in the public policy debate for a long time. But a few years ago, just after 2006, I had election time on my hands. And my wife said to me, why don't you combine your passion for education with your passion for aviation? And figure out if there's something that you can take those two interests and make something from it. Make something good come out of it. And plus you've been talking education reform so much, why don't you actually do something? And see what it's like. And maybe we can make a difference in some kids' lives and some families' lives. And wouldn't that be great? And that was really the genesis of the idea. It took a few years to put things together. It took us some time to find a Pat Quina to help really put things together. But we identified an old school building, and I remember being there the first night when we put out the word that we were going to have an open house. And I was hoping that just a few people would show up other than me, and a couple of people that I talked into coming to make sure that at least there were 2 people in the room. And when I rolled in about 20 minutes or 30 minutes before the session was about to start, there was a line out the door. And we knew that we'd hit a button, that we'd found something, and well, you guys were here. You were there that night as we stood in an old abandoned office building with the ceiling falling down. That's now the school that some of you hopefully have visited. And that's where we started. We put together a program, put together a curriculum. We've been building it as we go. And we're going to continue to develop and evolve, and that's why I really value the parents' involvement, the PROPS program. That was good. By the way, you identified exactly why I did not want to call it PTA. Because we did not want anybody coming into there with a bias that we were anything like a traditional old school PTA. We're doing it different. And actually, you are doing it different. I'm very grateful for that. So we're working hard each and every day, and we'll value your opinion and your input to help us get better and better as we grow and make this school stronger. Because what we want to do is change people's view of the world, not yours, your kids. We want to give them a different view of the world. Not different value-wise. I think what we're going to do is be encouraging and constructive and consistent with the values you're teaching. What we wanted them to see is a different view of the world in terms of their possibilities, their potentials, about what their future can be, and what it is that they can do in this world to make a difference. I've said it a few different times, and I believe it absolutely, having done it, that once you get up in the air a few thousand feet, the world looks different. For some reason, when you get up 5,000 feet, or in my case, I fly sometimes at 45,000 feet, the horizons move back. So instead of your world being small and seeing out a little bit, maybe it's just a few square blocks, the horizons move back and your world becomes larger. You start to see maybe new possibilities and opportunities for yourself that you didn't see before. And so if we can do that with our kids by getting them up in the air, both actually and figuratively, to expand their horizons, to see the world as a bigger place, and to see themselves as having opportunity beyond maybe what they originally imagined, that is what we're all about. Yeah, we want to prepare them. We want them to have the confidence to know that they can do it once they get there, once they go out and tackle an opportunity to change the world. But they're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready. And I believe that you'll be very, very happy with your decision to join with us. So I do thank you for your time. And if you don't choose us, we really appreciate it. The fact that you take the time to care enough to be here. And before I get rid of this, I'll just say that I'll be happy to take any questions you have, if anybody has any questions. But for those of you that are going to go up the helicopter, but more importantly, for the moms of those of you who are going to go up the helicopter, I'd like to just give you a little conversation about how safe the helicopter is, okay? A couple of things. One is that I was flying that aircraft on the way down in here. Kevin, who's going to be actually doing the trips, will be flying the trips with your kids. Kevin is has sometimes over 10,000 hours flying helicopters previously as a member of the Coast Guard. Kevin was my instructor and trained me how to do what I do. And actually, I spent all day, I should say all day, I spent a couple of hours yesterday training again, as I do every year, as Kevin does regularly, to make sure that we're proficient in the aircraft. We were doing what they call auto rotations, a lot of those yesterday. Auto rotation is when you actually idle the engine on the aircraft, which disconnects the engine from the propeller, and then you land. Now, contrary to public or popular opinion, the assumption is that if the engine stops on a helicopter, it falls like a brick, right? It doesn't. In fact, you can control the aircraft and you can land it very safely. And Kevin and I combined, we probably did it 25 times yesterday, where you just idle the engine back and you land. The aircraft is totally controllable and extremely safe. This aircraft is maintained to the highest standards, and as I say, Kevin and I train to those same high standards. So I can assure you that the helicopter is extremely safe. I'll be on the ground here, and if you have any questions about the flight or anything that you're interested in, I'll be happy to answer those. And Kevin can tell you more helicopter stories if you want to hear. If you're not going to be flying with us, you are welcome to go up and take a look inside the helicopter and ask any questions. Feel free to stick your head in there, and if you young people who are interested, please feel free to come on up and ask any question you like about the aircraft and how it works and what does what. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on that. When we are doing the operations, we will ask you to kind of step back, stay clear. So mostly, not because something bad with the helicopter, but because it does kick up a fair bit of wind and can kick up stone, pebbles, and things like that. So we want to kind of keep you at a safe distance for that. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Anything that you're wondering about that I might be able to answer before we pick some names and see who might get an opportunity to go for a helicopter ride if you're interested tonight? Anybody? Any prospective ninth graders have any questions?
No question?
Nobody that wants to ask the other public?
Just one comment.
Sir.
Thank you.
We're going to have you pick the names and Bessie's going to read them. All right. First, we're taking 12 names.
Abby Austin.
Where's Abby? Stand up, Abby. Okay. Great. We're going to have a meeting with you and your parents when we're ready to do that, okay? Congratulations.
Nolan Sankovian.
John, correct? Nolan. Okay, congratulations.
Austin Wood.
Austin Ward. Hey, Austin.